Okay, now it should be going now. So, good morning, everyone. So this morning I'm joined by Laura Willoughby. She is the founder of Club Soda, and she's going to tell us all about social mindful drinking and all of the projects that she's involved with. And yeah, it's going to be great to hear all about that this morning. So hi, Laura, how are you?
Hello, I'm great, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me.
That's all right, and you look like you've got an amazing weekend, which is fantastic. You couldn't have done this weekend like 2 years ago. It wouldn't have been possible. So
I know.
it's amazing.
Thank you, and honestly, like so much of what you've done, I stopped drinking sort of early 2019, and so much of the things that you do have been inspiring to me. And I don't think I definitely wouldn't have done something like this weekend if it hadn't been for going to your festivals that you run. So
that's awesome to know. That's exactly how it should all work. It should all be about inspiring everyone to do their own thing.
So do you want to start? We'll get on to the festivals and everything in a minute. Do you want to start by just sort of introducing yourself, a bit of background about yourself, and then go on to Club Soda?
Yeah. So well, my background's quite simple, really. I've got a politics and campaigning background. But in 2012, I decided my drinking was getting out of control, and so I gave up. So I've got 8 years alcohol-free under my belt.
Nice.
But at the time, I realised when I started to speak to people, and other people like me who are holding down jobs but being a bit of an idiot with booze, I realised there was a gap for something that felt a bit more like a club around changing drinking habits. So that's sort of where Club Soda came from. But I'm not very good at doing one thing at a time. And we got a little bit of funding very early in 2015 because people started to moan to me that there wasn't anything good to drink in pubs and bars. That when you turn up, you only get a crap Coke, basically.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that. And in fact, I'd got into the habit of taking my own drinks and in particular getting mad with teas in pubs. But we got a little bit of funding to do some research, which we called Nudging Pubs. It's actually still online. You can see it in the research part of our website, where we looked at how you could change the behaviour of pubs and bars towards non-drinking customers, rather than expecting the customer to turn up to a venue and then not drink when the options were really bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did quite a lot of research at the time. It sounds very fancy calling it research. It was like a great big extended pub crawl with then lots of conversations and interviews with pubs and stuff like that. But it was just before, like, Heineken came out the year later, Heineken 0.0. So it was just before that wave of low and no drink started to hit the market. And so not only did we find ourselves in a really unique position of being the only people that were beginning to talk about this, but also it cemented for me that it was one thing to help people to change their drinking. It's another to begin to change some of the levers in society that mean that it makes it uncomfortable for you to not drink.
Yeah.
And make not drinking seem like it's an unusual behaviour. Whereas who said the law is that going to a pub is only about getting pissed, right?
Exactly.
So that's why our goal as an organisation now is to create a world where nobody feels out of place not drinking. So that might be about how you feel about going out into what is a very alcohol-centric world, when we're allowed back out again, or it's about getting the world to bend a bit so that it's a bit more accommodating to different drinking preferences.
Yeah.
After all, it's just another dietary preference, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And so you that, like you said, that was way before like the wave of non-alcoholic big brands and craft breweries and stuff.
Yeah, before Big Drop came on the scene. I've got this video when Rob came to see us and he had his first prototype beer. I mean, it was, and that was 2017 before they came onto the scene. So, it was, it's been an amazing few years and it has made a real difference. But yeah, it's
amazing. Yeah. So you've seen it all. You've seen the whole, everything taking off, and you've been quite fundamental in supporting that as well.
Yeah, and this isn't where I expected Club Soda to be. I didn't expect to become an expert in low and no alcohol drinks. I didn't expect, right? I had a delivery this week. I'm the chair of the judging panel for Imbibe's No and Low Awards, and I have got 10 boxes with 150 brands in them to judge. Like, you couldn't have done that in 2015. There wasn't anything there. It would have been Beck's Blue and nothing else. So
wow. Where do you start with 150 beers?
They're not all beers, but
Okay.
but I'm definitely going to be okay for the rest of lockdown.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it's almost 5 years now, and it's come on so far since you started that.
Yeah, and then we didn't do we launched the first pub guide in 2017,
Okay.
the first version of Club Soda Guide, and then we had our first festival in the summer of 2017 where we had 25 brands, which seemed like an awful lot at the time.
Yeah.
Now we can't fit them all in.
And that's so you've been doing the festival a few years now, so and that's like I think, like I said before, like I wouldn't be doing stuff like this if it wasn't for those, and I think I spoke to Millie about it yesterday, that idea of it being normal, that like you can go somewhere and not drink, like you're not out of place, and you mix with people who feel the same way about it.
Yeah, and we've learned a lot from the vegetarian and vegan movement, really, which is it's about, we're not, Club Soda's never been about telling anyone not to drink. It really is up to people to set their own goals in Club Soda. I am a die-on-the-wall liberal, so I never believe I should tell anyone what to do. But it's about giving people choice. And I think that's partly why the hospitality and pub sector have warmed very much to Club Soda and are willing to listen, because I've not told them to not stock beer.
Yeah.
I've told them to stock something better for people not drinking. I've told them to not start by tapping the top of that Coke hose, and instead think a little bit more about what their customer wants.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of respect for that, so much so that actually we're about to launch a health initiative with the hospitality sector in a few weeks' time, because it's a sector that's got its own drinking problem amongst its workforce, and we've built some stuff especially for them. And for me, that's actually really positive. It's a really good sign that we're beginning to bring a message that's beginning to be mainstream, and where staff, when I first started Club Soda, you could go to the pub and ask for an alcohol-free beer, and the staff would take the piss out of you and say, "What, like water?" And that has changed quite dramatically. It's still not perfect, not by any stretch, but I can tell you that staff in pubs know that no one knows a thing, and that they need to be a bit more responsive to customer needs. And I think that will be even more so post-lockdown, actually. So.
Yeah, and what does that look like then? What sort of things are you doing then to gauge that interest, encourage the industry to, what's like day to day, what sort of things are you doing?
Yeah, so there's loads of things that people might not see if they just look at our Instagram and stuff, but Club Soda Guide is our venue guide. Don't tell pubs this, but actually it's a behaviour change tool for them, because they get a score when they sign up. They get a score for how good they are for mindful drinkers. That score is they have to tag all the brands that they have in stock, which is why we've probably got the best list of brands. There's over 1,000 drinks on that guide, which you can have a look at, find out where to buy them, links to the websites of the brands. But by basically tagging the brands, they generate a score which is weighted, so you don't get anything for Coke on a hose. You get, there's a limit to what you can have for having a good range of soft drinks, and then it's weighted around beers, wines, and spirits. And we've been working with chains nationally to get them on there. They all now want to be seen to be on the guide, which is really exciting. And when we launched that initial version of the guide, we did mindful pub crawls and all of that sort of stuff. So we do events that basically give you permission to go to the pub and not drink, because that's what we all need. We've actually just got some money from VAFBF to look at how we can scale that guide, and so we will be doing more work. It's been slightly curtailed by the fact there isn't a single pub or bar open in Britain at the moment. But our aim is to engage people more with that, so that you can find a drink and where to buy it is basically the bottom line. So that's one big project, but it's not the only thing we do. We've now started to do trade events where we bring together all the brands under an umbrella, and we do training sessions at trade events for pubs and bars and restaurants. We've just built some training materials for venues, so they can train their staff. And we do lots of other, I spend a lot of time commenting in the trade media about, the possibilities and the opportunities, not about, why, not telling people off, but saying, that this is something that you need to get onto, because people want to spend money with you and they want something nice to drink.
Absolutely. And it's great that the big industry like AB InBev and others are willing to have those conversations now, and that's all through your hard work over the years to get to that stage. Like you say, probably wouldn't have been possible before.
No, I mean, I think we're in a place at the minute where there's a perfect storm of events that make this possible. I'd love to say it was all thanks to us, but that's not true at all. Younger people drinking less generally has pushed brewers like Heineken to think about having an alcohol-free product. But then on top of that, innovators like Rob Fink and Infinite Session and all of that lot have pushed the market harder and faster than it thought it was going to go. And then the alcohol-free spirits came on top of that. Yeah. But the other thing is this is cross-generational. So I'm 46 now. Oh God, I was 45 last week, 46 now. So I'm that generation that's gone, oh shit, we've been drinking too much. Now we need to cut down, otherwise we're all going to die early. Yeah. And so we're beginning to spend money as well. And I think it's that size of market, including the people who are moderating. Moderators are 8.6 million people. Yeah. So the reason why we call ourselves a mindful drinking movement is because what we want to do benefits people who have never drunk before, people who drink very little, people who are pregnant, women who are pregnant, people who are moderating, and people who are alcohol free. And as a market whole, that's a good 15, 16 million people. And suddenly that means we're more likely to get what we want when we go out, rather than just saying, well, look, there's 4 million people who don't drink and you should really do something nicer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Add on to that the drivers, the people going to the gym tomorrow, people on medication or drinking or lunchtime. We use the pub at lunchtime. We can't drink anymore. Then again, that market inflates even bigger. Definitely, I think that's one thing that I've noticed as well. It's like from the conversations I've had with people about beer, is that a lot of people that I talk to, they're moderating as well. It's not that they've completely stopped. It's just they like craft beer and they want to have nice beer, but without having to. Yeah. The biggest purchasers of alcohol-free beer are people who also buy beer, alcoholic beer. So this is in all of our interests to be seen as a bigger movement, and there'll be different subsets within that for all sorts of different motivations. But that's really cool. Yeah, it's really interesting. We spoke to Ben. He's the marketing manager of Brewdog last night, and he said that they've just got in with Papa John's, I think, to stock their lager in Papa John's. I guess they take away pizza. Excellent, because there's not enough alcohol-free on Deliveroo and stuff. Exactly. So I tried to do a list, and it's impossible. So that was a really new, quite a new thing, I think, this week. And I know you've done a lot. I've heard on your podcast you do a lot of sort of food. You like the idea of food pairings and it being like a So do you want to talk a bit about that? Well, I mean, sometimes we think what we drink is based on I drink beer, wine, cider, la la la, but actually we drink around occasions. And often the drink that we miss if we're giving up drinking is the one that says, this is the end of daytime. This is now evening. This is time when we want to do something special, and you don't want to drink the drink that you've been drinking all day in the evening. And so the biggest occasion is actually that meal occasion, that evening occasion, where people sit down and want to feel that now they can switch off the day job and this is their time. And for me, it's been amazing how for many people in Club Soda, keeping that ritual, but changing the drink from an alcoholic beer to an alcohol-free beer has been amazing. It's really, really helpful. And of course, they're not replacing one addiction with another, because an alcohol-free beer has no alcohol in it, right? So it can't be addictive. So just because you might drink quite a few, it's okay. It's no different than drinking lots of glasses of juice or whatever. And in fact, probably better for you, because next to water, the healthiest thing you can drink in the pub is an alcohol-free beer, right? It's got no sugar in it, right? It's 66 calories. It's got vitamin B12 zooming out of it. So talk it's a great replacement. And I think one thing that I find quite funny is I never drank beer when I was drinking. So you will hear me talk about beer all the time, and I've only ever drunk it as an alcohol-free product. Oh wow! I'm a West Country girl. I was a scrumpy cider girl. Okay. So my big passion is kombucha, because it tastes like a scrumpy cider, right? But I now really appreciate beer because I also find it sippable. It's got natural speed humps in. It slows how quickly I drink it. If I was to drink, a soft drink, I'll drink it quite quickly because that's about refreshing myself. I also find that there are different beers that I like, and some of them go with a meal, and I mean that I can stay at the same pace as people who in my group who are drinking, because I'm drinking something that is sippable and designed to go with the meal. And also, I mean, I've been to some really posh restaurants where they still, if you ask what the alcohol-free options are, they offer you Coke and lemonade. I mean, that's guaranteed to kill a meal, right? Isn't it?
Absolutely.
Something sugary and insipid. And in fact, in our next podcast, I think we'll be doing something on beer and food pairing. So, because you can share a bottle of beer, over a meal. You don't have to drink the whole bottle. You don't have to have a pint.
And like that's another reason why I've done this weekend, is that whole idea of like, I used to love going to beer tasting things, going to like festivals and sharing my favourite beers with my friends, and you can still do that. Like you can't do that with a Coke or a lemonade, but you can do it with amazing alcohol-free beer. So
yeah, absolutely. And you can, after one pint of Coke, you're sugared out, but you can actually match people beer for beer with alcohol-free beer, and you'll be fine.
You mentioned
maybe burp.
That's it. The podcast. Is that a relatively new thing? The podcast.
Yeah, I think we're on episode sort of 9, 10.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to create a podcast that was a community podcast. So you can, anytime you want to, send me some stuff.
Okay.
Anyone can send in up to 15 minutes worth of content to include in it. So it's not a single interview podcast. We cover bits that we've been doing out in the world. So I'll go out, and when we go to trade shows, I'll interview brands. We speak to lots of different people. We do shorter interviews, and I'm hoping to begin to theme them a bit better as well. But for me, I like this sense of a movement that has many moving parts and many different voices and perspectives. My perspective is not the only one, and I'm not right all of the time, apparently. Who knew? And so I want to hear what everyone has to say. So if you wanted to ever just put in a 15-minute beer review, or if anyone listening find something they like and wants to tell us about it, or share their story, or tell us about a great pub they've seen, or any of those things, they can do that.
Brilliant. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I've listened to a couple of episodes. It's really insightful. Like it covers everything that we've been talking about. Do you want to tell us a bit about the book as well? Because we have a book. Because I was going to ask, like advice. Say if somebody is, they're they're looking to cut back a little bit. Like, what would you advise? And obviously, a lot of that's going to be covered in your book.
Well, yeah, we've got our book and our courses, and I think the important thing for people to know is that we do have a course that's specifically aimed at going alcohol-free straight away. But mostly our approach in Club Soda is about helping you reflect on the drinking that you've been doing and think about the future that you want. So actually our mindful drinking course in this book takes you through a journey of doing that first before you even think about where alcohol fits into your life. So for some people, it may be that they need to think a little bit more about what it is that they're drinking, where they're drinking it with, who they're drinking with. Begin to have that sort of conversation with them, honest conversation with yourself. Not like I only drink when I go out, and you're really piling back a bottle of wine in the evenings. And to really think about your relationship with alcohol and how it's impacting on you, and then what you want your future to look like. For some people, just right now, you may be considering moderation or want to moderate. And so you need to give that your best shot, right? You need to put some plans in place. You need to really think about how you're going to do that. Moderation, I think, all depends on how much you've been drinking to begin with and how long you've been drinking for. I don't think it's right for me, partly because I still look at people who leave half a glass of wine in a restaurant and think, how do they do that, right? So, and actually, and I'm not very motivated to want to drink anymore because I prefer the life that I have now. So it's not like I'm spending every day thinking, oh, I wish I could moderate, I still can't. It's just not there for me. It's not, my default is alcohol free. I'm not sure why I would want to drink. So for everybody, that's different. And so this book takes you through that process of thinking through that, really writing some plans, thinking about the future that you want, and then where alcohol may or may not fit in for you. What I would say is taking a break isn't going to do you any harm.
And that's, things like Dry January work really well.
I'd say I'll always tell you that 3 months for me is a charm, because it doesn't matter how much you drink, you will suffer some side effects of not drinking. And despite, some some media telling you that you will be, that after a month you will be a stone lighter and become a premium athlete after not drinking. Actually, you can have some ups and downs because you're changing a behaviour, and it can often make you feel miserable. It's a bit like me at the minute. I'm on a diet and all I want is cake, right? So and sometimes I feel miserable because I can't eat the cake. I don't even have any in the house, but I have all the ingredients to make one, so that's the important thing to know. So there would be times that you feel quite tired and thirsty, and at 3 months a lot of that would have gone, and you'll begin to feel what it is like to live alcohol free.
Nice. And in the book you mentioned there's a chunk on beer in there as well.
Yeah, as always, finding a new drink is a really important thing. When I first gave up, so that was 8 years ago, there was nothing, and so I brought a soda stream, and I went a bit mental buying weird things off the internet and sticking them into a soda stream. And then I discovered I never drank tea or coffee. It's not anything I've ever drunk. I then discovered single estate loose leaf tea. So I now have a very, very expensive tea habit. I spend about £60 a month on tea.
Oh wow.
You know, that'll do me. So I can knock the spots off a wine buff with tea discussions. It's far more complicated than wine. So finding something to drink is actually really important. Finding a thing that fills you with joy, means that you feel comfortable on the evening out, helps you mark that change in occasion. I never drank sparkling wine when I was drinking, but I now love taking a bottle of alcohol-free sparkling wine to an event with me, because it opens and it pops and it looks fancy and it looks the part, you know. So, and there's so many options out there to try now. So you can have great fun in the first 3 or 4 months of change your drinking budget by trying everything. Getting some mixed boxes from Wise Bartender and all of that stuff. So
definitely, and that's I think personally that's how I've managed to really not go back to the drinking again.
And so Anya, who is she writes most of our drink reviews and works on the guide, and is one of many beer experts in Club Soda. She's written a section on everything. So there's a section on beer, alcohol-free beer, how it's made. There's a section on wine, so adult sodas, kombuchas and shrubs, ciders, which, you know, still needs its work doing, on the spirits. And so finding those alternatives is really important, which is why we've included them in the book. And, you know, we're really lucky in the UK that we are the front of this market. We are the market leaders. God knows how. Biggest drinkers, and now we're the leaders of the market in low and no. It's quite exciting, really.
Yeah, it really is. I think we heard on Friday from a brewery in Australia, and they brew their beer in Australia, and the UK is the first market they're selling it in.
Upflow, because they sponsored the festival. And their shipment got caught in dock, and so they only had like 11 cans for the whole of the festival. But they are lovely, they're amazing, and in fact nearly all of the sponsors of the festival were Australian.
Oh wow.
It was Old Moot, Lindemans, Upflow, Liars. They're all Australian brands.
Oh wow.
So you know, but they've all launched here first. And then the lucky ones.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned a few of the events and stuff. Do you want to just show us some of the pictures and just talk through them?
Right, I'm gonna try and share the screen.
We've mentioned a lot this weekend. It's come up a lot, and people might not have necessarily been to the festival. And I want them to see and everything else that you're doing. But
I'm gonna try and give you some pictures. Is that showing properly?
That's great. Yeah.
So I mean, the festival is what I would call it's January is 2 days, whereas in summer we do 1 day outdoors. And we try and bring everything together under one roof. So there were over 60 brands at this festival, sharing their drinks. There's the Drop Bear Girls. And I noticed the Liars cocktail bar was very popular. But we also have, alongside that, a drink stage where Camille from La Maison Wellness was here's our beer tasting with Upflow. This is Anya. So where we were doing different tastings and cocktail masterclasses. And then we have our motivation stage where we can show people, we did talks and panel discussions, everything from how to find a favourite new drink to how to socialise sober, 1-hour workshops from different people. So everything you need under one roof, really. And it was amazing.
Brilliant. And well, we were saying before, your summer one isn't going to go ahead, is it?
No, so that was our 8th festival in January. We were planning to do Glasgow, Manchester and London this year. And obviously that's not going to happen. I'm really upset we can't do Manchester in October, but it's just, we are a tiny, tiny company and we can't afford the risk of not being able to do it. But I think we're going to bring it online at the end of July, early August, as a global festival, which means we can bring in lots of the people that we know all across Europe, Australia, Canada, and America that we know, and begin to have international panels and stuff like that. So have a little think and share with us what beers, you know, we can bring in Athletic Brewery from the States. All of that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Amazing. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's great. And yeah, when we're all back to normal again, we can get back there and do it all again. Because
we're booked for January, so I'm hoping we'll still be able to be there in January. In the Truman Brewery. I love organising not a piss up in a brewery. It makes me so happy. But you know, we're a collaborative movement. I don't have the answer to everything, so engaging with everybody in this space, you know, just to see the rise in the people doing beer reviews over the last couple of years has been amazing, and the stuff that you do, because people want information, they want to know what things taste like.
Definitely.
It's interesting. The reason why we did the festival is because people will buy a brand of alcohol that they don't know because it's got alcohol in. We will pick up anything if there isn't our preference there. People won't spend £1.50 on an alcohol-free drink unless they know they definitely like it. So it's a really high bar for the producers in this space to try and get over, because nobody wants to casually pick up to see what it tastes like. And so reviews from people like you are really important for navigating people to the styles and types of beer and that sort of stuff, because taste is still very subjective, but so it's very hard to give people, like, you know, one person thinks something's lovely and somebody else thinks that Schlur's the best thing since sliced bread. Who am I to argue, right? But and I know what I like, and you know, and a lot of people don't like kombucha, so I'm always very like, well, you know, maybe, you know, it's all right if you like it, but if you don't, that's okay.
Well, I think it's brilliant what you're doing, and thank you again for coming on this morning. Really insightful stuff, and really appreciate your time.
Never a problem. And actually, you may be interested. We did some research last year around how to improve the sales of low and no alcohol beer, which is on our website. We did that with the Brewers Research and Education Fund. So there's always interested in people's input, people's ideas on how we can get more venues on the guide and improve all of that. There's still a long way to go, and we're up for your ideas and thoughts and contributions and collaborations.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So up next, I'm going to be speaking to, talking of people being like giving tips and stuff of what to drink. I'm going to be talking to Matt in Amsterdam, who does the Guilt-Free Pints Instagram page. And he knows his alcohol-free beer more than anyone. So I'm going to be chatting to him next at 11:45, and then we'll be back this afternoon for all of the breweries. We've got Nirvana, Infinite, Drop Bear, and Lucky Saint. So that's a lot to look forward to. So,
have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.